This is a team from Another Simple Favor, and this is the Deadline Studio at Prime Experience. I mean, we thought about the sequel really during the pandemic because when the movie first came out, the original one, it did really well at the theaters, but we kind of thought that was the complete story. And then suddenly it got this second life during the pandemic, and then when it went to Netflix again after that, it took off. And it had this whole life on streaming that made us think, well, maybe we can revisit these characters. And I love working with Blake and Anna and with this whole team, and thought, why not?
Paul called me and he said, I don't know what the story is, but I want to shoot in the Amalfi Coast. And I want to see Anna as a fish out of water among rich people. And I was like, okay, but we do have Blake in jail for murder. So we got to figure out how to get her out of jail. And then I realized, well, you know, we had this flashback structure where we see windows into their previous lives. I thought, well, if she had a previous life in Italy, then that would maybe open the door to bringing the story to Italy. So that was the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Marvel brings people back from the dead all the time. We can get somebody out of jail.
Totally.
Right out loud.
Yes. It was actually not really the kind of movie that I normally get invited to take part in. So it was very exciting. And Dr. Feig had been talking about ways. I think we share a love of noir, the very 40s, 50s, like, you
Definitely.
know, the Preminger Laura kind of noir. And you had done such a beautiful job with the Darcy Bell novel and the neo-noir kind of feel of it that was so unique. And it was, the challenge was, which is, I think, really difficult, how do you match, let alone exceed, the level of absolute insanity in that first movie? How do you get to that point where people are really genuinely surprised, but don't feel like they're pulled out of the film?
Yeah, exactly. You want to take it right to the edge and then not go over, but get right to the edge.
Paul was always really clear it needed to be Italy, and that in and of itself was a challenge. We had come up with a great concept for Italy, and we'd had a great script for Italy, but it didn't stop the studio from going, is Croatia an option? What about Budapest? And so, keeping it in Italy was one of our first and biggest challenges for sure, but so was the creative process of just keeping all of the characters in the story. We were coming out of the strike, and everybody had commitments. They had TV shows that they had to go back to, they had projects that they needed to finish, and it was like a 5-car pileup trying to schedule a returning cast of characters, let alone bring in new characters.
Yeah. We wanted this to be very opulent and over the top. I was very inspired for this whole thing by Giovanna Battaglia. She has a married name now, I can't remember what it is, but she married this very rich hedge fund Swedish guy, and they took over all of Capri. And I've been going to Capri for 30 years with my wife, Lori. And it was just like, this seems like the right setting, but let's make it as big and over the top as that one was. And so honestly, where the wedding takes place out on the Punta Trigaro, that's where Giovanna got married. And when we went to scout it, I was like, yeah, they got married out there. I thought they had grass and went out. It's all rocks and it goes down. Turns out they built this big deck and covered it with grass. So we got the same people to build the deck, but we made ours with pink and just went crazy with it.
It was really great to get back into this sandbox. It was really, really fun because we had such a good time on the first one, and then to get back with these characters and to be, back in their heads and see their adventures and their misadventures, and that was the charm of it. That was really, really a lot of fun, and also the beauty of being in Italy and seeing that on my desk every day was just I think that the growth that Stephanie had and made from the first movie, I think was really smart and really, but she still in her heart was Stephanie and had all those foibles and all those things, and Blake was just amazingly devious, which and with the biggest smile and the biggest aura and all those things that go with it, she was just amazing to watch. And the guys that came back, Henry obviously, always happy to see him, and the new characters, the Italian guys, were just amazing. They were really, really lovely.
Yeah.
tell me about the challenge or the process of like working with two Blake Lively's and like and working with her on the performances.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was amazing with this because when we first hit her with this, she was like, okay, like I trust you, I guess. But you know, she's such a professional and had to do twinning in the first movie anyway, and she's really good at like wanting to find a body double who can act with her, and then teaching that body double what she's going to do physically, so that that person can match that when they're off camera or getting over the shoulder with them. And it was really fun because, I mean, you know, Faith from the first movie was a completely different character from Charity, and she was very inspired by who wants to be Baby Jane.
Yes.
What's the name of the
Whatever
movie?
Happened to
Whatever
Baby
Happened.
Jane.
Thank you so
Jane,
much.
yeah.
And so that's where the dolls came from, and she just wanted to take it to this crazy place, and I loved it. I think she's so spectacular in that.
What were your favorite things from the script to see come to life?
I mean, all of it. It was so
The-
fun.
And
And
I think
actually,
the
it was
truth
really
serum,
fun to see. Yes, the truth serum was really fun. Really fun to write and really fun to see. But also, it was fun to see stuff that I didn't write. You know, it was like, oh wow, what's happening now? It was great.
Well, it was two things actually. One was the way in which it was really fun to be able to come into the world and be able to be additive to it, because the script was so good already, and it was some of the things that I was able to contribute, like Anna Stephanie looking like she's drowned in the pool, you know, with her just sitting there looking
My
at
favorite
her watch.
gags, exactly.
I really like that moment. But there's little things and bigger things like the Dante Mateo storyline, which I'm still very fond of. I personally think Dante does not need to be dead.
That you and Blake feel the
I
same way.
feel very
She's like, we
so-
didn't see him die.
We didn't. That was the whole
He got
point.
blown up, exactly.
I would just like to say that Marvel movies.
Thank you.
So
That portal showed up. He went
Yes.
through a trap door.
yes,
Yeah.
you know, all
You're
those
reading
fireworks
Doctor Strange
fights, they
shows
have
up.
trapdoors.
Right. Of course they do.
Yes.
He's going to come back with an eye patch.
So I would say my most fun part was really just the over-the-top stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul, it sounded like you are very much open to coming back again. Do you have any like concrete ideas yet?
Oh, I do. I'm not telling. We had a lot of fun. I would rather not wait 7 years if we're going to do another one. You know, the characters are fresh, and I like the places they're in now. They're in very interesting places, just like the first movie put them in interesting places. And I think there's just a lot of more over-the-top international intrigue and style and fashion and crazy twists and turns to come. Comedy is still definitely a group experience, you know, but I think comedy at the moment, and look, you say this and then it changes the next day, but I think comedy has to be mixed in with another genre, because I think audiences demand kind of a gravity and a stakes and a danger in the movies that they watch, whether it's emotional danger or physical danger or whatever. And I think comedy plays best off of that, because comedy is all about extreme emotions, extreme characters interacting in an extreme way. And so that's what's really fun, is like, how do we fuse these things into genres that people don't think are going to be funny?